Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and time for another Patreon question. This one comes from Daniel Douglas, and he asks, what are some of your favorite game developers? Well, to help me answer this question, I have assembled the Metal Jesus crew, and we're going to start with the immortal John Hancock.
Favorite game developer, hands down, is Blizzard. And I am a huge fan of the company. They make quality products. I don't always like everything they make, but they stand behind everything they produce. They are passionate. They listen to their fans. You know, they're still producing content for World of Warcraft. I mean, that thing is ancient. You know, amazing the support they did with Diablo 3. You know, when the game first came out, which I purchased on PC, it wasn't the greatest game, but they kept updating it and producing new content. I got the console version, I got the PS4 version, and I've easily spent well near 1,000 hours into this game. It's amazing. The company just keeps producing hit after hit. They do their research. They're very talented people. Going back to Diablo, you have Warcraft, you have StarCraft, Overwatch, which is not my favorite franchise, but that was a hit. You got Hearthstone, which is a very successful card game. They just have really stand behind their products and make amazing games. And so my hat's off to Blizzard. You guys are awesome. Looking forward to future games that you're making.
So this is a pretty difficult question, so I decided to go with a couple different publishers that do stuff in like a wide range of things that I like. The most obvious one to me is Capcom. They've done all kinds of stuff, obviously Mega Man, Street Fighter, but those are their most popular ones. I'm gonna go with something a little bit, I don't know, they're still popular. Monster Hunter. If you guys know me, you know I love Monster Hunter. It's pretty obvious what you do. You hunt monsters in this game, but it's got really good co-op, it's challenging, really good action, good mechanics. It's a lot of fun if you haven't tried it yet. Okami, which of course is just like a gorgeous adventure game. Beautiful Joe, so just badass, you know, side-scrolling beat-em-up action, and get kind of like a mystery visual novel stuff with the Ace Attorney series. So a wide range of stuff that they do really well. So I think that's awesome. That's why I really like Capcom. The other one is a little bit more narrow, I think. So Atlas, and everybody likes Atlas. They've done all kinds of really good RPGs, JRPGs. Obviously, the Persona series is amazing. If you like JRPGs and you haven't played the Persona series, I don't know what to tell you. It's amazing. I don't know what you're doing. Play it. Odin Sphere, which is just tons of fun, super like high action, gorgeous colors. I have a thing for really gorgeous art, I guess. I don't know, between this and Okami. Izuna the Unemployed Ninja, that's just kind of more like an old school RPG, but with a lot of humor in it. But they also do some other non-RPG stuff. They did R-Type Command on the PSP. They do the Koro Q games, which are fun. So there's all kinds of like little weird things they do here and there. Back in the day, they used to do hamster games as well. So I don't know. Atlas is a pretty sweet company. I usually check out almost everything that they publish.
I think my favorite developer would probably have to be BioWare, because they made two of probably my most favorite RPGs, and that's Mass Effect and Dragon Age. I absolutely love those titles, and I can't wait to see what their next big hit is going to be. So I'm gonna have to stick with BioWare.
One of my favorite developers is actually kind of a great big gigantic nostalgia bomb, and that is Squaresoft. And this is like pre-Squeenix, so before 2003. And Square is awesome. They started in the mid-80s, and they just kind of made some of my favorite games from my childhood when I really started like digging into like RPGs, and there's still games I can go back and enjoy today. So of course, I mean, there's like Chrono Cross. I actually played Chrono Cross before I played Chrono Trigger. Sorry. But I loved it. And then, of course, like Vagrant Story, and my favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy IX. And just in this era, and on the Super Nintendo, Secret of Mana, like, they just made so many fantastic games that just defined basically who I am as a gamer today. And then I also wanted to do an honorable mention, and that is CD Projekt Red, because granted they don't really make that many games. They have the Witcher series, and then they're going to have Cyberpunk 2077, but they're just so awesome and so good at fan service. Like, it's the 10-year anniversary of The Witcher, and they put out this wonderful video that almost made me cry. Well, it kind of did make me cry, but it was wonderful. They're just so great to their fans. And so even though they don't make a lot of games, I definitely wanted to add them to this list.
Oh man, my favorite developers. Let me tell you, if I had to just choose one or two of them, the first one that comes to mind is Human, and I can tell you why in 5 words. Fire Pro Wrestling, because the Fire Pro Wrestling series is my favorite series of all time, and if it wasn't for Human, well, we wouldn't have the Fire Pro Wrestling series, so thank you for that. If I had to just choose one more, man, I would go with, you know what? Let's go with Atlas, because if I could tell a younger me anything, it would be if the game says Atlas on it, buy 2 of them. Keep one sealed and put it away, and play the other one to your heart's content, because everything from Atlas is a guaranteed instant hit. So if you excuse me, I gotta get back to work, but I will never tell you where I work. Shh, it's a total secret.
So out of developers, I would say it used to be Capcom, but you know, with a lot of their business practices today, I kind of fell off from them. You guys will understand what I mean when you see the things with Street Fighter V, how that turned out, and Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, I think it's called. Just, I don't know, just low budget in some of these games, it seems like. But here's hoping that they'll come back to where I used to love them, the glory days. But I don't know. But it was Capcom. Hopefully one day it will be again.
My answer to this question, well, I went around my room several times. I almost picked Criterion, but there was one developer that I think just is absolutely amazing, and it's so tragic that they're not around today, and that is Dynamics. Dynamics is a relatively small developer from Eugene, Oregon, and over about 2 decades, they produced an amazing amount of games across a number of genres. And to show you what I mean, I've got a bunch of their games here. And I'm gonna start off with, like, on the Commodore 64, I remember playing Skyfox 1 and 2. These were really cool flight sim action games. Then they moved on and they made the original MechWarrior for Activision. Again, a really great simulator, way ahead of its time. And then kind of just moving around here, they also made some really great RPGs like Betrayal at Krondor. They also did another action game called Stellar 7. Many of you are going to recognize these, both on the PC, the Mac, also on consoles, on the Sega CD. They did a bunch of adventure games, including Rise of the Dragon and also The Adventures of Willy Beamish. They also dove into simulation games and did that extremely well. They did A-10 Tank Killer, Aces over the Pacific, Aces over Europe, also the classic, which is Red Baron. Then they even dipped their toes in sports games, sports simulation games like the Front Page Sports Series, football. They also did baseball. Then they really hit their stride, in my opinion, because they mixed simulation games also with sci-fi and action. And that is the Earthsiege series, the MetalTech Earthsiege series. Many of you loved and played Tribes. That was a Dynamics game. And then they also did sub-simulators and with voice recognition. And this is just a small example of the many, many games that Dynamics made over almost 2 decades. And so in my collection, it's one of the gems that I have so many of their games. I just absolutely love Dynamics. And so anytime I get the opportunity to talk about them, I will, because as you can see, I'm very passionate about Dynamics and I really wish they were still around. But love to know what you guys think. What are some of your favorite game developers of all time, past or present? Love to hear that down in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing and take care.